Hi everyone. I've been missing you guys so much. As most of you, particularly intrepid viewers, will know, I'm still in Sydney and I'm helping out with major family health stuff. And so I'm trying to keep up the videos because they are my greatest joy. Now, the next debate. I always said there was one debate, so I could be wrong. Although I don't know, intrepid ones, whether Trump realises he's actually going to be muted. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be worth the price of admission, either having him muted or seeing if he still just talks over the top so it'll distract Biden and because he can't help himself. As we know, he's untrainable, yet he's a free spirit. Excuse me a moment, I've got to pause this. And I am so looking forward to whoever this new moderator is. I don't even know because I've been so busy. I hope their first question is, please, Mr. President, can you outline 3 of the major platforms for your health reform that you've failed to put in place for the last 4 years? Pin him down on a policy because then he'll just waffle into space and look like the idiot he is. So for Biden, really all Biden has to do is, I think, go back to basics. Most people in most countries, whether it's Australia or the US or something, they're not following the deep Ukrainian stuff or anything like that. But things they can identify with, like Biden should say to him, would you like to explain to the American people why you opened a fraudulent university and how do you feel about your conviction, Mr. President? Why is it that you're not allowed to run a charity for 20 years because you stole money from your own children's charity? I think people get that. You know, it's more down home and sort of relatable. So we'll see. So I've got 2 major questions today. One is national elections. I read a good piece. If I can find the link, I'll put it up. You have to change how you do national elections. And I think part of the problem is when a country tells itself it's the best, whether it's the UK at the height of the empire or the US now, governments and people stop looking at other countries for better models for healthcare and education and other things because they assume it's the best, when obviously it's not. So I think this is one of the lessons for America in this, is to look at how other countries do it. Now, in Australia, with elections, if I'm where I'm sitting now and it's election day, there would be 20 places I could go to vote within a 2-mile radius. Every school, church, community hall, all sorts of buildings. And I've never waited to vote. We joke in Australia because at elections we have a sausage sizzle, and we often say, oh, the line is longer for the sausage sizzle than to vote. So let's have a look. Will the whole format of national elections change? And it's symbolic. It's symbolic about the last decades and decades of fiddling around that GOP has done systematically to keep the power they've got. So let's have a look. Will America actually get a national election, a standardized national election? Now, I have a friend who works for the UN teaching parliamentary democracy, and frankly, the Solomon Islands and Myanmar and really troubled places that he has worked at are doing better with elections than the USA. And I'm sure that puts a lot of people off voting. Famously, half of your eligible voters who don't bother, although this time's different. So it's really, really important We all remember the Gore and Bush stuff. Will America do proper elections? Okay, let's have a look. Illusion, delusion. Oh, I'm pleased to see that. Oh, so cute. In the middle, this is now. And this is the card of being completely mystified, too much choice, too many options, not being able to actually read the play, not too much choice, illusion, delusion. And I think it's part of a national delusion that things are all right, that has been smashed away by Trump. Lest we forget, everyone, Trump, we will say in 15 to 20 years, was the best thing that happened. I know that sounds bizarre, but we will be saying it because so many things will change permanently because of his radically appalling behaviour. So, illusion, delusion. In the past was the Hierophant, and this is structures of government and law and order. So let's talk about the good old days and the last 100 years. I think there was enough structure there that people trusted. So even though maybe they shouldn't have always trusted it, there was much more faith in the system. At the root of the current issue, money. Got to get this donor stuff under control. I think this is what it's about. I digress, viewers. Big companies and different groups used to pay money to political parties, often to both political parties because they wanted the ear of both sides depending who won. But the idea was to get influence, which I found corrupt in itself and bad enough. But now they don't buy influence, they buy a result. So if I'm a filthy, big, huge energy supplier, instead of lobbying, I can now buy off people to, give me the right to do anything I want and poison your children. And that is fine. So, fool's gold. As we speak, the crossroads is here. That's why it's not going to end on November 3rd or 20th or even January, because this is the beginning of the work to reclaim a democracy and build a real democracy. This is the crossroads. Is America up for it? I think there's going to be a major transformation. I think it is going to be positive and a major, major, major power shift back to the people. Because people are going to realise through this that you actually have got power and you need to hold it and use it wisely and use it well. My card for America, bliss, inspiration and hope. So I think that's a 4-year project, but it has to happen. And I think it's the same with the Supreme Court. They need to revisit how that is running in every way, but I'll save that for another day. In terms of democracy, you're an inch away from the most significant election in our lifetimes, and hopefully it's going to be this massive landslide. But of course, there's going to be endless stories of sabotage and horror that if we heard about it in third world countries, we'd go, oh, well, it's no longer good enough, America. So let's hope people get excited and energized through this process. That's what I want for you guys. It'll be a better country. So the other thing I look at is related to that. I just saw on Ari Melba for a minute. I was quite shocked. The average American income is $33,000. I also remember a stat from last year that nearly half of Americans could not come up with $400 in an emergency. This is not a rich country. But again, you see how strong the narrative is. I belong to the richest country on earth, even though half of the people haven't got $400, and that was before COVID. And I really, really, really think COVID again is a warped blessing in disguise, because it's going to change how we think about money, how we think about relationships, and certainly about healthcare. So, equality and inequality in America. Equality and inequality. COVID, is it going to have this role that I hope it'll play? COVID in the States now. Because you'd have to say, even the most generous interpretation, it's really, really out of control. And that's because you don't have a working tracking and tracing system, the inability to test in the numbers that are needed. You've got belligerent, well, let's say nutcase followers of the Yeti. But also, it's not just Trump-based people we're talking here, people who should know better. So COVID in the USA long term. COVID in the USA. You're in the wars, yes indeedy. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is Trump, the ruthless, ruthless killer. He's killing people. I don't think that's too big a statement. Entertainment channel, YouTube, but his bizarre lack of policies, complete indifference. This is a very cruel person. And make no mistake, the Yeti is cruel, and people walking away from the cruel leader. This is Fauci. Oh, bless. More recently, my Obama card. But this is Fauci trying to explain to people how disease transmission works, really basic stuff that you'd explain to an 8 or 10-year-old, why they have to wash their hands, etc. He's explaining, he's the voice of sanity. But that's being battered away. And for every Republican who does not walk away from Trump, they are part of this. So I think this is Trump again. He's feeling assaulted, right? Because everything's about him. There's a naivety to this card. It's traditionally the card of looking back, looking to childhood. There is a naivety about the American nation, in a sense, of just trusting it'll be all right. It has to be all right because we're America. So there's this idealized trust. I'll just do a clarifier on that before I get to the big gun here. Please give me a clarifier on this Six of Cups. What is this nostalgia about? What is this nostalgia about? It's an odd card in that position. It's the energy over the issue. So what is that about? Working together. Okay. It's all right. There's an optimism about working together to resolve this. This is a bigger picture. I think this is health workers. I think this is teachers. This is parents. This is people who think and care. Once Biden gets in, of being able to repair some of the damage, and hopefully on Biden's watch, a vaccine will come. Everyone's very polarized on vaccines now, but there will be a first gen, second gen, and so on. So I think by about the second generation of vaccines globally, we'll have a safe vaccine option. This is destiny. COVID is going to change America. This is the wheel of karma turning. And I think it's going to certainly highlight the healthcare debacle, because it costs you guys huge sums of money to be treated for COVID. I mean, that's outrageous, you know. But it's a bigger picture. This is a way bigger picture, and this is the revolution the US needs to have. I'm feeling really positive today, which, trust me, in my situation is no mean feat, but I am. And I think you guys can do it. So the time now, with these protests that are going on, which is great, so you've got to conserve your energy, because this is a 4-year cycle now where everything has to be rethought. So I send you all my love. I adore you guys, so thank you so much. Hang in there, hang in. Cheers now. Bye.